Hello everyone and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. В эфире программа Ushanka Show. I'm your host, Sergey Sputnikov, and back in 1971, I was born in the USSR. As you may already guessed, in today's video we're gonna talk about banany. Banany, that's how we call bananas in Russian language. One is banan and many is banany. Banany. But before we begin, I would like to provide you with my personal disclaimer. I used to love bananas. That was the best thing ever when I was a kid back in the Soviet Union. Bananas was the best present I could dream of for my birthday, which is in July. By the way, a while back I already recorded a story about Soviet bananas. It's called Soviet Story Time, Going Bananas After Bananas in the USSR. So that's a story about getting a present from my parents. At that time I stayed in a village with my grandparents, and my parents sent me a box with bananas as my birthday present. I'll post the link below in the comment section. And I also mentioned that story in my book, American Diaries, 1995. So banana was the only, I don't know if I can use the word exotic fruit available in the Soviet grocery stores. We had no kiwi, no pineapples, no papayas, no mango, only bananas, and only for a short period of time. And bananas were quite hard to find. They were only available in large cities like Moscow, Leningrad, Kiev. They never were sold in the smaller towns. So most Soviet citizens never saw bananas in their lives. It's only when you travel to Moscow you might be able to snatch some. And someone calculated that amount of bananas imported in the Soviet Union every year was enough to provide one person with one banana once a year. And I don't know why, but bananas were only available in the summer for a short period of time, for about a month. So like June, early July, that was the only time you could see bananas for sale. Despite the fact that bananas were extremely expensive, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, there was always a long line if the bananas were for sale. And usually there was a limit how many bananas you could buy. It would be 1 kilo or 2 kilograms max. It could be sold per person. And just to give you an example, 1 kilogram of bananas is approximately 5 bananas. So it already sounds kind of ridiculous. Imagine you go to your local grocery store and they tell you, sorry, there's a limit of 5 bananas per person. But it's even more ridiculous when we talk about price. I remember the price of 1 ruble 40 kopecks per kilogram. Some people claim, like in Moscow, price was 1 ruble 10 kopecks per kilogram. And just for the reference, there is a 2.2 pounds in 1 kilogram. So if we take a current price of bananas in the United States and it's 59 cents a pound or 69 cents a pound, it's about $1.30 per kilogram equals about the same, 1 ruble 30 kopecks per kilogram back in the Soviet Union. And I know quite a few people always argue you can't compare prices in the 80s in the Soviet Union versus modern prices in America. But comrades, if the Soviet Union still existed, bananas will be still 1 ruble 10 kopecks per kilogram, because officially we had no inflation. So we good. So here's the fun part. Average salary in the Soviet Union was about 150 rubles per month, and bananas were 1 ruble 10 kopecks per kilogram. Average salary right now in the United States, I just looked it up, it's about $4,500 a month, and bananas currently is $1.30 per kilogram. So Soviet Union, 150 rubles for ruble 10. In America, it's $4,500 for $1.30. That means that average Soviet worker, even an engineer or scientist, could purchase 136 kilograms of bananas with his monthly income. Meanwhile, an average American worker can purchase 3,461 kilograms of bananas for his average salary. So almost 3.5 tons of bananas can be purchased with one monthly salary here in America. And if we continue playing with our calculator, in order to find the same ratio, 136 kilograms of bananas that Soviet engineer could afford, if we say, okay, what about if an American could afford only 136 kilos of bananas per month? That would translate into price of $15 per pound. So picture you go to Walmart or your other local grocery store, and the price for bananas, not 59 cents per pound, not 69 cents per pound, not 99 cents per organic bananas per pound, $15 per pound. This is what Soviet people used to pay back in the 80s. And despite such a crazy high price for a Soviet consumer, we still had long banana lines, and people were after those bananas like crazy. As I said, I love bananas myself a lot. And every time I buy bananas here in the United States, I live in Southwest Michigan, and my family really don't like bananas much. My wife finally started liking green bananas. She likes them green for some reason and firm. My son eats a little bit, but when I buy them, and it's always tons of them, and you can choose green ones and ripe ones, it makes me sad because it was such a desirable item back in the Soviet days. So I have this inflation of happiness that now buying bananas doesn't bring me any happiness. It's just your everyday occurrence. You just go and buy bananas. But back in Ukraine, in Kiev, if my parents would get me some bananas, they will be like the highlight of that month or maybe even of that year. And now we need to talk about a proper way to eat a banana. I hate to sound as a comrade obvious, but the shape of banana can bring some improper associations. I think that's the word. So for the Soviet ladies, a proper way of eating banana was breaking pieces of banana after you peel it off, of course, instead of jamming the whole thing between your lips. And while we're talking about banana, I must mention banana pants, which were extremely popular in the 80s. Like you see this picture, gorgeous Russian ladies burning dance floor, and those pants were called banana, and one of them has yellow banana. And speaking of a shortage of bananas and Soviet people not really familiar with that fruit, this is a photo from 1956, a movie called Starik Khatabych, the old man Khatabych, and they used plastic or maybe wooden bananas, and they painted them this dark green color because they even didn't know what color of banana should be. And of course, when the Soviet Union collapsed, markets opened, and now bananas are available everywhere in Russia and modern Ukraine. And I just looked it up. In Russia right now, despite the sanctions, they sell bananas for about 65 rubles per kilogram. And if you do rate of exchange 76 rubles per $1, they sell bananas in Russia right now for 39 cents per pound versus in America 59 cents a pound. So it's actually cheaper in Russia to buy bananas now in dollars than in the United States. Average salary in Russia right now about 60,000 rubles per month, which means average Russian can purchase 923 kilograms of bananas right now. In Soviet Union, only 136 kilograms. So if you look in bananas, life improved almost 7 times. So banana-wise, it's 7 times cheaper now in Russia than it was in the Soviet Union. But we're talking only bananas here. Despite that, my friends Sovkadrochery, who missed the Soviet days, come up with this interesting meme. He says, "В СССР были бесплатные квартиры, больницы, школы, садики." So it says, in the USSR we had free apartments, which is a lie, free hospitals, correct, free schools, correct, free daycare, so kindergartens, that's the lie, free places of rest, so like vacation spots, that's the lie, they were not for free. Free pioneer summer camps, that's correct, but we didn't have enough bananas. So it states what was going on in the Soviet Union. Half lie, half truth, and the truth, we didn't have enough bananas. Thanks God those dark times are behind us, and now everyone has plenty of bananas. So we traded our great Soviet Union with free this and free that for plenty of bananas. So that's a nice modern meme from people who made Soviet Union. Okay, my friends, it's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye.